Conditions for downwinding will totally depend on your experience. So if you're looking at the forecast and you don't know, the answer is it's probably not right. And it's trying to build up the experience over time. So for that novice downwinder, light onshores, that's where you're going to start, and then slowly building to a stage where there's more angle, and also building to a stage where your exit options are maybe fewer. So to begin with, it'd be all roads lead to shore, and then over time, what you might do is go, okay, I want to do this crossing, which is slightly different. I want to do this downwind paddle where I need to make it to this point. But it's all experience and technique led. So if you're looking at the forecast and you're unsure, if in doubt, probably don't go out. And it's trying to build that knowledge behind it. If you look at downwinding in its most extreme sense of making crossings or going from point A to point B across a massive bay, then at that stage there needs to be a large level of experience that built up to that. So you need to have gone all the way from the outs and ins and built up to the slightly longer journey to the slightly more exposed water to the next bit and the next bit. So the key with downwinding in the most extreme environments is experience. So anyone can do it. You just need to build the experience from where you are now up until building into those journeys, really.
I think what's really important when you are downwinding is having an entry point, an exit point, but potential exit points along the way if things change. So whenever I would do a downwinder, I would always make sure that I've got a bit of a plan. If something happened along the route, I could get out. I mean, if you go on a downwinder where it's like a high stretch of cliff all the way along, there's no way you can get out. Where you start is often very different to where you finish. So if you start, just say Carbis Bay and you end up at Gadrivi, you're potentially going from completely flat water with no wind, sheltered, to going halfway across the bay where the wind's really howling or something like that, and then you're getting out, where you're getting out in Top Cove or Gadrivi or Gwithian or something like that, the surf's massive. And I think that's why you've got to be really careful in what you're doing and plan ahead.
As with all stand-up paddleboarding, planning for downwinding comes mostly around forecasts. So, what's the wind direction, what's the strength? Would be your two biggest ones. And is that wind direction going to change? And that's probably your key bit. So getting the direction right and making sure you're up to the strength of the wind that you're going to paddle in, putting those two together would be key. Then looking at your route and deciding, okay, where's my route going to take me from and to? Can I finish my trip earlier? Can I exit? What are my options? There's the transport side as well. Am I going from A to B and how am I getting back? So just building it up really and making sure, again, all those things are within your remit. So, is the wind direction good? And is it the right strength for me? Is my ability up to the distance I'm going to paddle in? And then checking for my kit. So am I on the right board, leash, paddle combination to do this paddle? And then do I have the right safety gear on top of it as well?
That preparation before you go downwinding is really important. And again, buddying up with people, making sure you've got the communication, the sort of high vis, the buoyancy aids. You're almost planning for worst case scenario.
Downwinding errors or downwinding going wrong is mostly down to wind angle. So if you get that slightly wrong, it's a bit more onshore, you're going to get less far down the coast, you're going to get pinned on one side a little bit more. If it's slightly offshore, you're still going to get pinned on one side in terms of paddling, but that's going to cause you problems in terms of returning to shore. So route planning and wind direction is probably the biggest area that could go wrong. The other one is making sure people are decently leashed or wearing an appropriate leash. And sometimes just a coiled flat water leash that's designed to be used with a all-round board on the river isn't up to the job. If I'm using a 14-foot race board or even a bigger, 17-foot plus downwind board, actually my stock, quite cheap, coiled flat water leash probably isn't going to do the job, because effectively you're in a surfing environment with a load of wind and loads of torque on the end of that board. So string snapping or leashes snapping, it could be a big issue. Difference is if you're on flat water with no wind, is that board's going to go 10 foot from you. Whereas downwinding, that board's just going to continue to go away from you. So, making sure your kit's not going to break, but then also being able to do something about it if it does break, it is pretty critical.